So Sam Ehlinger did not have too bad of a debut for the Colts yesterday when he played the Washington Commanders. Washington Commanders defense didn't start out too good, but they've been getting better, gradually getting better throughout the season. And, even though they had William Jackson out, they had a few other guys out, but the defense is still very talented. They have a lot of talent, and, they're okay. They're nothing special, but Sam did okay. You saw a lot of things from Sam that you like and that you hope that he could improve on, maybe build from it, and ultimately become a starting quarterback. So, some key plays from Sam. We're not going to waste too much time. We're going to get right into it. He rolled out, right at the beginning of the game. You can notice the mobility compared to Matt Ryan. He's running around. He's spinning out of players. And, he hit Granson on a third down. Granson just dropped it. It was third and short. Ehlinger made a crazy, juked out a defender. And then he got the ball to Granson. Granson ultimately just dropped it. And I noticed it's been a problem with Granson. He has these concentration drops, and they need to be fixed. You don't want you need to have a guy that you can trust, especially on third down. And it seems like you can trust Jelani Woods the most right now. So I would have Jelani Woods on a route like that. But he can't run as fast. So would he be as open? No. But Jelani Woods has shown the ability to, catch a lot more consistently, even though he hasn't had a lot of reps. Granson just has these drop problems once in a while, and he has a bad drop once a game. That's not good. You don't want to see that. We've seen that a lot from Eric Ebron, and Granson is a lot more talented than Ebron. He catches a lot better, even though he has that one drop a game, but much better than Ebron. So there was another curl route. It was a third down, and Pittman ran a little curl in the middle of the field, more so towards the right side in the middle, but came back on the curl, and he was open, and Sam had to throw over defender. That's something you'll learn as you get experience, but he had to throw over the defender, didn't get it over him, so the defender was able to tip it. So he has to improve on that. His mobility helped the old line look a lot better. The offensive line looked better. I think they allowed 1 sack, but they were still pretty bad. Sam Ehlinger's mobility just really helped that old line look better than it really is, because Ryan Kelly not playing well, Nelson not playing well. We'll get more to that later, but you can't fumble. I get it. He's young, he's inexperienced, but you can't fumble, especially when you're in the red zone, knocking on the door, and you have 3 points in the bag. The way Chase McLaughlin has been kicking, that's in the bag. Obviously not guaranteed, but you get what I'm saying. And then Taylor also fumbled later too, and that same thing goes for Taylor. You can't fumble. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a new player coming into the league. I don't care, and we don't care. No one cares. You can't fumble like that. He'll learn. He'll get better over time. He'll learn where to, how to track defenders, where defenders are. That's something he'll learn over time. You get from experience. He looked okay. He didn't look like anything crazy. There were a few throws to the outside to Pierce where wasn't really anywhere close. Those two back-to-back plays. The second one wasn't even close. The first one was a little overthrown, but the second one wasn't even to him. It was way to the outside. I think it was a PI that the defender had on Pierce, but it wasn't catchable. So you can't call the PI if it's not catchable. You take that for whatever you want, or however you want to take it, because I know the catchable stuff is crazy. Sometimes they call, sometimes they don't. We all know how PI is. It's a frisky game. So some more keys from the offense. Too many screen calls on third down. The screen calls on third down are getting predictable, and there are a lot of screens, and calling screens and stuff like that. Like pitches, those end arounds, it really helps take the edge off the defensive line. It really helps the offensive line to get a step on the defensive line, because they have to be a little more disciplined, wait for the play to develop a little bit, and when that happens, it's a lot easier for the offensive line to block on passing downs or whatever, because they have to stay disciplined. It's better if they're running up the middle, but if they're not, or it all depends on positioning. They need to get good positioning, but too many screen calls on third down, I don't like that. It's not very good play calling. So devastating turnovers in or near the red zone. We already talked about this with Sam Ehlinger and Jonathan Taylor fumbling. Jonathan Taylor, you have to hold on to that. You're one of the most talented backs in the league, and if you can't hold on to that, that's an issue. You better get that figured out, because earlier in the year when you were playing, you fumbled another crucial one too. I think we were past a 50-yard line, and he fumbles it. Not good. Not good. So, Michael Pittman, I have some issues with him right now. Last game versus Tennessee, Pittman fumbled, and that ultimately put the nail in the coffin. Now, we were down 19-10, and it seemed like, being down 19 points the way the offense has been this year was just insurmountable. It felt like a 17-point lead. But with Pittman fumbling, that ultimately ended any chances of, making something happen. And we were driving that play too. And in this game, we have a chance, we have 26 seconds to go down, and 22 seconds, we had a chance to go down, kick a field goal, and ultimately win the game. Sam Ehlinger has a beautiful ball to Pittman over the middle, and Pittman has room to run, possibly to get in the field goal range, and Pittman just drops it. He just flat out dropped it. Like, dude, you're a good wide receiver, but you have not been good when it mattered most. We'll tell you that. We'll say that you have not been. You need to figure out a way to play better late in the game. I don't know if it's nerves getting to you. I don't know what it is, but you have to make that catch, and you can't fumble like you did last game. That needs to change. You need to be better late in the game. You've been very good throughout games. Late in the games, you have not been very good, especially those last two. So Parris Campbell, he's electric, man. He needs more opportunities. Every time it seems like he touched the ball, on a screen pass, on an end around, a few times he caught the ball. Parris Campbell is a weapon for this offense. Use him more. Use him on more end around. Use him on more of the stuff on, the screens, whatever. I was complaining about them earlier, but once in a while they're okay. They help take the edge off of defensive line. But when you call screens too much, start calling on third down too much, that's when it becomes an issue. Frank Reich, he was creative. He was creative, and he kind of had to get creative. But at the end of the day, his team wasn't ready. And, the defense, no, we'll get to defense later. But at the end of the day, Frank Reich needs to get this team ready. And, there are times where the offense the offense still started slow. At the end of the game, you caught a screen pass on 3rd and 10 instead of going for the first. And then your defense ultimately led up the touchdown. The defense kept us in this game. I would say it's not the defense's fault that we lost, but at the same time it is. And it shows that when you try to grind out drives, when you don't have an offense that can consistently put up points, even if you have a good defense, you can't win games anymore. You have to be able to put up points on offense. And if you can't do that, you're not going to win in today's NFL. Somehow, this team has 3 wins. Yeah, I don't know how they beat the Chiefs. I don't know. Mahomes had a bad day. Kelsey had a bad day. Jeez, goodness gracious, man. We should have beat the Texans, but that didn't happen. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, but you move on. What else do we have here? Ryan Kelly in this offensive line. Ryan Kelly still is not communicating. Ryan Kelly is still not playing up to a standard of being one of the highest paid centers in the league. This offensive line is one of the highest paid offensive lines in the league. Not playing like it. Playing like you're like none of them are being paid big time contracts. Paying like none of them were drafted pretty high. They're not playing up to their standard. They need to be better, and they have not been good. Now Sam Ehlinger's mobility definitely helped. The whole line look better, but there were plenty of times where Kelly just got absolutely demolished and killed, and other times he's just not communicating. And then you have Quentin Nelson, who got beat really bad a few times. It's just, how are you gonna pay an offensive line this amount of money, and then them not be what you paid them to be? it's hard to pay the offense line a lot of money, and then on top of that, the way they're playing, it's even more difficult. Sucks to see it, but it's the truth. And that's where Chris Ballard's problem has been. He has drafted elite linebackers, elite safeties, maybe not elite safeties, but pretty good safeties. Pretty damn good safeties. Julian Blackman played pretty good yesterday. He had a big-time save against Terry McLaurin later in the game. It's just, you have to stop band-aiding these big, high-impact, most important premium positions. You have to stop it. Matt Ryan wasn't the answer. A quarterback. You had Phillip Rivers, whatever. I get it. You had Jacoby, and then there really wasn't. You didn't really have a high enough draft spot. The draft didn't really fire away at quarterbacks that time. But there's a point in time where you have to get aggressive and go get your guy. Chris Ballard hasn't done that. The weapons are looking okay. I'm happy with how the weapons have looked. Pittman has looked okay. End of the game, he has to clean that up. Parris Campbell has made a lot of big plays. Alec Pierce has looked pretty good. Speaking of Alec Pierce, he's been pretty good, man. He's been a pretty good wide receiver. He's been very, very solid catcher. Knows how to get open. Good route runner. He's fast. He's big. I like this kid. He's been playing good. Other than that, I know Doolin's been hurt. I haven't really seen much else. I would like to see Frank Reich use the tight ends more, because the tight ends have been very good. I don't know why we didn't use them last week. I know the receivers have been good, and you want 3 of them out there, but your tight ends have been your strong point. When Jelani Woods is out there, it seems like a big play happens every time he's out there. Every time he's getting the ball. Granson, he has his big plays here and there, and he has his drops here and there. Mo Ali Cox has his big plays here and there as well. You just have to give them chances. You have to get them open. You have to get them snaps, playing time. You get them playing time, it helps the offensive line. It helps Chip. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of ways that you could benefit from playing the tight ends more, and you're not playing them more. I think the tight ends should be played a lot more. So at the end of the first half, I would have liked to see this offense try for a field goal. I know there wasn't a lot of time left, but I want to see this. I want to see what Sam can do. 2-minute warning. I thought Reich got a little too conservative there. Offense was too conservative in general that time. I would have liked to see something happen, but just didn't. Whatever. I'm not going to get too picky about that. Sam Ehlinger did fumble the play before, so maybe go into halftime, not let Ehlinger make another mistake before half. So keys from the defense. I played well all game, except for the last two drives. And Gilmore, you did not have a very good game. Didn't have a good game in general. Not even just, the last bit of that game. He just didn't get it done this game. And, it comes back to the point where Chris Ballard keeps band-aiding these these premium positions. The high impact, the most important ones, the premiums. And it's showing. Gilmore isn't what he was. Gilmore is struggling at times. He has had brilliant moments. Denver game, he looked good. But you know what? If Russell Wilson throws that ball just slightly earlier, that's a touchdown instead of an interception. So, and then Brandon Facyson, he's still being played over Isaiah Rodgers. Why? So, the pass rush did do their job. The pass rush looked pretty good, in my opinion. I thought they've been solid. They've been pretty consistent. Unique Ngakoue got a little dinged up at one point. Tyquan Lewis got dinged up, which is unfortunate because Tyquan Lewis was a big reason why Darius Leonard got his interception. Tyquan Lewis was really pressuring Heinicke out the edge. Heinicke just throws it up and hopes someone gets it. Doesn't get it. Well, Shaquille Leonard gets it, and it's ultimately an interception. Big time play by Leonard. Tyquan Lewis ultimately helped force that. So it sucks to see him go down. He just cut it off. Hopefully he's going to be okay. So pass rush did their job. Unique Ngakoue got in there a few times. DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart have been phenomenal. But it shows that the interior defensive line isn't always going to win you games. You need good edge rushers that can come off the edge, take the ball from the quarterback. You need that stuff. Really helps you close out games, which was an issue today. So, a big problem I've seen with defense lately, versus talented running backs, they have been getting killed from the flats, from these little routes. If the running backs get in the space with other teams and they're talented, they're making you miss. This team has to get better with tackling in general. Right at the beginning of the game, Gibson caught a few for like 10, 15 yards. Gibson had a pretty good receiving game. It's getting aggravating watching these running backs week after week. Travis Etienne had a pretty damn good week. Gibson had a pretty damn good week. We need to get better against running backs on the flats. We need to get better versus those little stick routes. There are a lot of things that this defense is just not getting done. And Gus Bradley playing Brandon Fascion is one of my biggest pet peeves with him right now. In his system, it just seems like we're playing good defense, like I said, but there's only so much a defense can do in today's NFL. The offense has to go out and score points, and it's going to ultimately make the defense look a lot worse. But the defense, the last few drives when it's the most important, you can't get 2 stops. You can't get at least 1 stop. That's all you needed. And you got stops all game long, but you couldn't get it when it mattered most. Not good. Teams could just drive on this defense. Like, you just drive. That's not an issue. They have had long drives. Defense has not been good with getting stops. When Taylor Heinicke got outside the pocket, it was not good. We have to work on keeping these mobile quarterbacks or any quarterback in the pocket. When quarterback gets out the pocket, coverage breaks down. It makes it much more difficult to cover people, to play man coverage. People can't cover forever. They can't. The defensive line and Gus Bradley need to find a way and figure out something to keep quarterbacks in the pocket. And, they've been decent at it, but this game, and, even versus Trevor Lawrence, they've struggled to keep these guys in the pocket, and ultimately they kill us from the outside. Something needs to be changed. Something needs to be figured out with that. Zaire Franklin had himself a day. He had some pretty big tackles. Excited to see Zaire Franklin. Of course, Shaquille Leonard got the interception. Once again, this defense needs to find a way to find consistency when it matters most. That's when they have struggled. It feels like when we get some momentum, the offense gets some momentum, the defense lets something happen. But it doesn't help when the offense gets some momentum, then they go 3-0 the next drive. It doesn't help when they fumble it 2 times in the red zone. That's at least 6 points you lost right there. So, offense, not good. Defense, I'm not too mad with the defense. The defense really has to tighten up when it matters most. They were tight all game, very good all game. When it mattered most, don't know what you're doing. So, defense has to be figured out with that situation. So, some other keys, some other little notes is that turnover margin is -9 so far this season. Last year, I think we were like plus 15. Yeah, the defense is not creating turnovers. The defense needs to start finding a way to force turnovers. Not a lot of interceptions. Not a lot of, we did have an interception with Leonard, but we need more of those. We need more turnovers because we're losing the turnover margin. We need to stop giving the ball to them. We need to start taking the ball away. A lot easier said than done, but when you're -9 in the turnover margin, it's not good. Not good. That needs to be fixed immediately, but at this point in the season, nothing's really going to be fixed. It's just going to be what it is. And you know what they say, when you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1. So, Jim Irsay has to be pissed. He was talking all this stuff about Dan Snyder. And, I'm not going to get into the controversial stuff. That's not what we do on here. But Jim Irsay was talking all that stuff. He was, going on about this. And, he has to be mad that we lost to that. That we lost to an owner that he's like, oh, we don't even want this owner around, that kind of stuff. That has to grind his gears the wrong way. That has to start getting him more mad at Reich, Ballard. Changes are going to need to be made before next season if we want to do anything. And, next season, it's probably going to be another long season. Whether it's another Band-Aid at quarterback, whether it's another I don't know, just a quick fix. Get aggressive. Go get your guy. It's a very good quarterback class. Very good quarterback class. This is your chance to get a guy. Take a shot on someone. Injury notes. Unique Ngakoue limped off after a play. I think it was like middle of the third quarter in the second half. Well, he came back, but something to keep an eye on the injury report throughout the week. Jonathan Taylor re-aggravated the ankle injury. He was on the sideline, both ankles. I think he was having an issue with, so that's something to really keep an eye on. Tyquan Lewis was carted off in the second half as well. That sucks because Tyquan Lewis has been a very good pass rusher, as I was just talking about him earlier. He was a big reason why Darius Leonard got that interception. He was in Taylor Heinicke's face, beat Samuel Cosme off the end, and it was just an easy look for Tyquan Lewis to get their quarterback. Ultimately gave Darius Leonard an easy interception. So this is the recap for the Washington football team in Indianapolis Colts game. Week 8. A lot that needs to be done. A lot that needs to be tailored and fixed to Sam Ehlinger. Sam Ehlinger looked okay in his preview. A lot of things he could work on, but it was his first start. I'm not expecting him to be anything crazy. I know I'm not someone that thinks Sam Ehlinger is the answer. I think this year when there's a lot of good quarterbacks coming out, you have to go and get one. You can't just bake on Ehlinger. He was a 6th-round pick. Yeah, he had some mobility. He showed some good stuff. But when you have a chance to go and draft a guy like maybe Bryce Young, probably not going to happen. Maybe C.J. Stroud, probably not going to happen. Will Levis is maybe a little more realistic. I don't know, though. How about Tanner McKee, another Stanford guy? We know what happened last time. We drafted a Stanford guy. It worked out pretty well. So just try and protect him this time. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in to the JDW Sports Talk Show, where every fan is welcome. You guys let me know what you think about Sam Ehlinger. How did you think he looked? I thought he looked okay. The defense did not look good at the end of the game. Pittman has to get better in late game situations. Frank Reich still calling screens on 3rd down. Oh, another thing. Why do you keep running straight at the middle with JT? I would say, it's probably because of his ankle injury, but no. That's not it. Because he didn't do it before when he had JT. He always runs JT right up the middle. It doesn't give him any pitches, any stretches, any outside zones. Need more of that. JT looked decent today. But that's ultimately it for me. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, put the post on vacation bell last to us any future videos. This is JDW Sports Talk Show. Signing off.